Control the safety car. Please close the gap up to the GS field. Close up the gap, please.
A couple of people out of position with a couple of infractions in qualifying.
Qualified on the pole by over a second.
The biggest one of those, as you know, is the horrendous one of bad news World Racing. Archangel Motorsport, they had a spring infraction qualifying, as Jeremy mentioned, on the grid. That moves that class from third position, where Alan Brunelson had dragged the Aston Martin out to all the good news for Alan. He's fast, he knows it, and he won a race a week ago, even here at Sebring International Raceway. He is good and confident that he'll be handing the car over later in the race to Trenton.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Cars in the afternoon sunshine. Two as they put on the clock. TCR are exactly what it says on the tin. Touring car, global category. GS, of course, GT4. And at the front of the field, a really competitive run from Maxwell Root for Wright Motorsports in the 7018 Cayman GT4 for Club Sport. He'll start on that front row on pole position with the AWA McLaren 570S for Murray Fadani. Then Russell Ward, Winward Racing, nearly snatched pole position yesterday, the first of the AMG GT4 Mercedes. Dylan McAvan for Turner Motorsport shares the second row in a BMW. No, we have not had a repeat manufacturer in the top four. It is a second McLaren for Motorsports in Action, and Sheena Monk in position 5 with the Team TGM Chevy Camaro, number 46 in 6th position. Automatic Racing has the Aston Martin V8 Vantage in 7th position. It is Fast MD Racing for the Audi RM GT4, making up the top 10. PM for the Ford Mustang GT4, the number 40. And Riley Motorsports with the new for 2021. That is the Turner Super GT4 for the winners and riders. as that's the blue for the TCR, but we are indeed racing for GS. The light blue and black Porsche disappears into the distance. A fantastic start. It is the Atlanta Speedworks Honda Civic on pole position for TCR. Coming to the line now, the blue and yellow car in the M Sport second place at the the untimed start from the TCRs actually. Then it's had it on the worlds with the Honda Civic I like to see these split starts, Jeremy. I think it works very, very well indeed. Look like a missed braking area. It's suspension damage, left rear suspension damage for the 46 Camaro in the grey and chrome blue. What an awful start that is. It actually doesn't look too badly bodywork damaged, but certainly that's had a heavy hit. James Pesic just missing his braking point and going straight on at the tower turn. And he managed to car pulled before it hit the fence. So we have stayed green. First bit as well, oily doors by the turn on BMW down into turn 7, I noticed. So having said that we've got everything underway cleanly, all hell pretty much broke loose further down the lap. But the combination of right motor leads. Second place, the Whitworth Racing was more driven to say by 1.2 seconds ahead of or if it's let's try and work out what happened in the early part of the lap with Hugh Plum. He's got McLaren and Sheena Monk behind him, but it was a bump from the Audi behind Sheena Monk. And did Sheena hit the back of Hugh Plum? I think she did. There was some carbon fibre and that slowed everybody up, and that car immediately has gone behind the wall. So I think that was just one of those incidents, Jeremy Shaw, that just happens when everybody's so close together.
Yeah, really unfortunate. In the Audi that was directly behind her. Really good start from that car.
If he'll throw it to me out of that, I can add on the 40 if you want.
Fair, means or foul, that's the question mark. Also a problem
update on the 40 car. I just checked in. James Messick, report from the team was a brake issue. Coming back, it's the first lap, everything is that rotor pushes the pad track again. It seems to be back now. He's got a brake on it.
That there was suspension damage on that car. Now the TCRs already beginning to close the gap between the back of the field and the GS field, and also many drivers who had issues, including the Pesic 4, of course. The car park with Peregrine number 93 salvageable at least. Settled down a bit.
Looks to the inside to head down towards the hairpin of turn 7. Dropping to second position in TCR, number 6.87 now. Running the sequential gearbox for the first time this weekend. Not too sure how well the electronic changes and with Chris Miller, Dr. Will Talley and Michael Taylor taking a good comfortable victory despite having had lost
incident early on between the two cars, the Sheena Motorsport in action, McLaren and Hugh Plum in the TGM Camaro has been looked at. There'll be no further action. Shea Adam has some, and I think that's reasonable enough in the hustle of the opening lap. So Shea has a VP Racing Fuel paddock update on Tally Gonzalez and the 2700. Shea, what do you got?
What are the three most feared letters in terms of an issue in the car? ECU is indeed in that
Even in your street car, you normally do that. Try and not get a problem, try and get it to clear, turn it off, turn it back on again. After that, we're talking about some serious time to sort things out. Top four from 4 through to 1. Spin for the Toyota Supra number 14. It's the Riley Motorsports GT4, and that's turn 10, which is a real action area. Already in the Porsche Mazda races and in the qualifying sessions. The news is the Toyota engine is still running. There is damage and there's might suggest he had a little bit of help there, and there's something rubbing.
It really depends on how you guys want to do this
suspension
show.
as well to see if that's all
about
pointing
momentum on the
in the right
floor in the
direction, or he's
open.
getting
You
some
can talk to Indy Donchi.
unwelcome rear wheel steering. I think that is the case. You see just about the points. The Alpha number 5 coming through. Yeah, the right rear is rubbing because the suspension arm or the toe arm at the bottom of the link is rubbing, and that's why that car is running so slowly. Beautifully turned out in the white, red and black of Toyota. Yeah, right rear wheel now at the angle, Jeremy. And that again would suggest to me then that he did have some help going down into turn 10. Turned in, there was somebody there. Thud. Yes, there was. And it was the Volt Racing car. Impossible to hide that one. It's so bright. So Alan Brynjolfsson in the Aston Martin was the driver down the inside there, and so far back you would suggest, although we haven't seen it from outside the car, it would suggest that he wasn't really far enough down the side of the car to make that pass at 10.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Central America. Toyota had a really good run along with Julian Santero at Daytona, finishing in the top 10. A really stout run there. Qualified the car in the 10th position, moved up a couple of places on the first lap, got back a couple of places on the third lap, and then as you say, had the contact with Alan Bryn-Watson, who had started, of course, from the back of the field, trying to work his way through. So most unfortunate for that team. Meanwhile, Maxwell Root, he's leads by a couple of seconds out front, but Dylan McIver
is setting up for a stop.
On the second step of the podium at Daytona, former series champion, just set the fastest lap of the race with 2 minutes 12.4 last time around.
Shea Allen will give us an update on the PESEC number 40 Ford.
Seeing several times this weekend from other cars so far. ABS failure for this right Cayman Ford going into turn 10. Really strange, but it has been a couple of times this weekend.
That's something to do with the focus are saying systems get more sophisticated in GT4. Maybe the bumps are throwing them off, or it's just what the GT4 years ago. So as Shea said, so front of the field, 2.6 seconds is the gap between Maxwell Root and Mike Porter. Racing's third for Turner Motorsport. Sort of make the bridge between the two worlds, particularly with the IMSA Racing Pro Series on iRacing restarting on the 8th of April. It's a half and half livery on that car, and Robbie has got a half and half race season as well. Toyota has just gone behind the wall. That's 3 cars. We haven't seen this kind of attrition for quite some time in the Michelin Pilot Championship.
For a variety of reasons. In the meantime, Dylan McIver is in the second position, just got past Russell. He's chasing after a second outside the race lap record he set last year. Already, by the way, he was a 13th position in the current 10th place now, and he started in 20th in Carnival. 7 next cars ahead of him on the racetrack.
competition, including all the big races on iRacing. If you're on the left-hand side of the track, Edward Dawson is in the pits. That is for incident responsibility. The Fiat car.
That is correct.
Sorry, yes, with the 14 car.
He sits behind the wheel as well as JR on the lollipop when they came in. Brake issues still in this car. They've got the computer plugged in, the mechanics looking at all the four corners, and that is disappointing to this team. What is amazing, though, is they run this car. It's also built a brand new racetrack, Ozarks International Raceway, just outside Osage, Missouri. So not only focused on racing the car, but building a racetrack. They've done it all themselves, and as this little Mickey Mouse racetrack, 3.87 miles long, 19 turns, 250 feet of elevation change. Multimatic has been there. They've mapped the racetrack. They've driven it in an Indy car in the virtual world, a prototype, and in GT cars. And they hope before long we may see the IMSA WeatherTech Championship.
Sitting in thought about Turner. So if you're on the right, you'll see suit livery. If you're on the left, it's the standard yellow and blue of Turner Motorsport. If you're standing right, you'll see exactly the same combination. Eurosuit on the right and Turner on the left. It's got a half race suit. I'm sure we'll see that when we get to the driver tube. So in the distance, Maxwell Root is out on a Friday afternoon drive in the very pretty blue, white and black number 16 Porsche 788 Cayman GT Club Sport, should I say, for Wright Motorsport. He's disappeared into the distance, and Dylan McAfee now in second position has overtaken the Women's Racing Mercedes of Russell Ward. Orifa Darling still in fourth position. So it's Porsche, BMW, Mercedes, top three all German manufacturers in TCR. Brian Henderson has a similar comfortable lead, not quite as big, but nearly 3 seconds in the blue and yellow Atlanta Speedworks Honda. Sponsorship on the side, it's on 13 now. And then it's Gavin Elstone, Audi number 61. Then it's the second of the Hondas, the LA Honda World Racing Civic. And then the Unitronic Audi. So there's two Audis at the front on the TCR for the best Hondas at the moment. It's Ryan Norman in the 98 car. Side action with Vin Barletta trying to defend his position. Do that through the car racing Audi, the red, white and black car. Is in a new 8th position. The TCRs for a moment, and the Hondas getting in their speed. Ryan Norman and Harrington Sagan now quiet behind Chris Miller. Has gone through. 98 has gone through now on the 70. Unitronic Audi. Yeah, back to the front of the field, Jeremy, and Maxwell Root doing very well, as I say, considering the circumstances in which he finds himself behind the wheel of that car.
A couple of days before the start of the race meeting, and of course he's looking to kind of recoup his losses. He had a very disappointing first in the Porsche Carrera Cup North America. We've already had the 2 races again. Back out. He had bad luck in both of them. Still on first back in the first race, and then some problems in the second race as well. So really sort of back to the boat. What he's making up to now. What's interesting to me is he was able to, I think, relatively conservatively when he first pulled up. He made a great start. Too hard to improve on those first cars, and they're still now looking very, very good shape with this 2 cars. Being able to set 4 fastest laps in a row, and now extend that lead out over 5 seconds for Maxwell Luton. It's going to be Jan Halen who will complete the race in that number 16 car, and we know how strong Jan Halen is already by the top of his experience with the sport of 718 Cayman. So it could well be a Sunday afternoon drive here on Friday for the Wright Motorsports team.
So, around about 20 minutes completed, and Shane Adam will give us a VP Racing Fuel Pit Paddock update about drive times, because that will affect the strategy. I know it's only a 2-hour race here, but they're always a bit cute about where they set the drive times. It's very seldom, if ever, Shane, an exact fuel run for these cars. The guys on the wall have got to do just as much thinking and calculating as and use their brains as the guys behind the wheels.
If only it could be an exact fuel run for the guys on the wall. They certainly wish that it would be. Maximum drive time is 80 minutes, 80 minutes. Well, it's a 100-minute contest, so yes, you would hope that that's how it all balanced out. But yes, they have 5 for GS, 4 sets for TCR. But for the TCR pit stops, we only ever see them change the front tires. Should be a one-stop race for TCR, 2 extra spots for GS.
Bradley Keane in the automatic racing Aston Martin started in 7th on the first lap. Since then, the challenging track, he's made a few passes. His latest victim was Sheena Monk in the Motorsports Inactive McLaren. Trying to chase after Alex Pavlov, who's already got about 6 seconds in the hang on him. It's certainly been a good run for
Gavin Ernstone chasing down the leader in TCR. Pat Britt came into the series with a couple of drives a few seasons ago just to test the water as their programme together, and in fairness, Jeremy has done a very good job indeed. He's really grown in stature as a driver by his teammate, but he's confident enough now to take that start of the race. Sometimes he hasn't even got the car before, even into the tactics of the race have demanded it. Gavin has stayed on board, and his pace has been improving race on race.
Yeah, back issues towards the end of this year, even early this season. But Gavin Ernstone is has been an instructor been very successfully actually. He's a really good young talent, is John Morley, and it's great to see the Gavin drivers on a regular basis. That pairing already had a fair bit of pre-winter credit for the starts they made with this kind of challenge. This year, have a championship challenge.
Big time battle for third position TCR. So big up some Gavin as well. Big ups why I always associate that yellow, black and white He's got the Copeland Motorsports Veloster. I was going to say behind him, but now it's actually alongside and going through the bright orange and black car. So that is a position made up by the number 51. And through goes that Veloster in TCR. part of the lap, and he's just eked out a bit of a lead. Oh, off for the 71. Frank Depew in He did a really good job as well. Comes down turn 7, and also
There was no way coming in here that I saw this. It felt like if they could get 7 laps of caution,
look at anything other than what's going on down the track. It's even somebody like Hammond.
Expect a two-stop race. Most of these teams are 45 to 50 minutes on a tank of fuel, and in fact, GT3 Fast MD team have been battling Papadopoulos and James Vance. They're set up for a stop with 900. They may be looking to make that change, do that stop as the window opens. But remember, there is a minimum drive time that each driver
down to half an hour later. Taxes from they were down from here, Shane Adam is our paddock reporter. I'll come to her in a moment after a problem for Vin Barletta, again in the braking area down to turn 10, and just ran on a little bit. That is becoming a real action hotspot down there. Wasn't certainly looking at the right hand side, the Bureau Sub VS competition side.
Yeah,
that looks
open,
alright.
the window should open
side, and the turn of motorsport, yellow and blue. Just a little bit of a run on there for Vin Barletta.
Once they get to 40 minutes, they should be able to stop and do it on one more stop.
An interesting first half an hour that's seen 3 cars go behind the wall. Let's have a look.
We have a little bit of good news, at least in terms of car racing going behind the wall and then coming back out again. The 46 truck is now returning to the paddock area. We also had that 57 Motorsports Hyundai.
Talking to somebody right now, but I think we heard a lot of back-to-back route when he gets out, so you might not want to burn that one yet.
Which means he has about 7 to make up. He may keep going to the paddock out there.
I don't think it would be bad to talk to somebody in the 73 in TCR. They were leading at Daytona when they lost an engine. That was one of 3 Honda engines that let go at Daytona. That's rare.
The second half
of run here
the race. 6 seconds to gap in front of the field. Maxwell Red for Right Motorsport Porsche. Then Delamaca for Turner's BMW. The 95 guy in second. Russell Ward in third.
I don't think he's on my end.
6.5 seconds further back, so that's 8.5 seconds away from the leader. He's got
the other person that I think might be worth talking to.
The top 3 are really great
before he gets in on the GS.
TCR Henderson by 2 seconds from Ernston. And that's right, Honda of the LA Honda World Racing Team, that's 73. And then the first of the Ryan Herter Autosports Elantra ATCR updates. That's another 1.5 seconds.
I'll go get information from him, and I'll be ready to come back and get
a little bit of action for you. With a couple of Mercedes running close together. That's the LAP Motorsports AMG and the Murillo Racing car together through turn 17. And they are battling for 12th and 13th position. 9 seconds further back is Aaron after his drive-through during the incident responsibility for that kiss earlier on.
That's right, he's now right up with Frank Depew in the Rebel Rocher Chevrolet, trying to get away from 14th position.
He's also going to say it might not be bad to talk to someone from with the collision they had, starting at the back and then the drive-through griddle team, they're not really in it. So.
Back in front, a little bit further back, crossing the line, battling. Is Tyler Hagler and
I'll ask you that, or let him answer that before we need to go back to Shea for another VP Racing Fuel update from the early carnage. Shea, what do you have?
Sebring to all and all the rival units as well. Car 14, the Toyota Supra GT4, officially retired. So after their brilliant debut at Daytona, where they came home 7th, was DNF in the first car out of the race today.
At least, yes, absolutely. That was contact. That was contact for which Alan Brynjolfsson was penalised with a drive-through. So tactics now, Jeremy. We are, 3, 4, possibly laps away from when the first drivers will have completed their drive time. The thing to think about there is how much of the race is left, and also how well your starting driver might be doing. There's no sense in changing things out and losing your track position if all you're going to get is effectively losing your track position.
Yeah, that's definitely true, isn't it? Because you don't want to outsmart yourself. That is for sure. Super battle this season for GLO is headed by Roy Bannister, one of the youngsters in this field, and he's bouncing away there
on one side
with
of my headset now.
Victor Gonzalez. These two, nothing to choose between them.
I was just talking to a team, and when they came back on air, I only have it on one side.
The snowboarder, Olympia, for Copeland Motorsports in
You said you were thinking about doing interviews in this
cars,
segment?
the cars that qualified on the front row of the grid that actually wasn't early on. Same time Gonzalez.
Yeah, I'll be there by the time he gets done with his deal. Just tell me where the train's running right now. Keep me honest on where they are position-wise.
Now up to the safety place.
Copy that.
At the head of the field as the TCR battles continue, we'll try and keep across everything that is going on, but that just means you sort of have to have eyes in the back of your head and be looking all around the circuit at the same time. Charlotte can sort of manage to do that with everybody. 5.5 seconds on the front of the field now. 2.5 seconds back.
Oh, how far away do you think you are?
Back for 6th, 7th and 8th in TCR. Still joint. Sport 51 card. 10 or 15 cars lengths further ahead of the two battling machines we were talking about, the Van der Steur and Gonzalez, Hyundai and Honda. Good run for Rory Van der Steur coming out at turn 16 on the back straight, and he's forced the Hyundai driver to go into the middle of the road. Gonzalez then, getting the run on the Van der Steur Hyundai, and down towards the final corner. Driver by Rory Van der Steur there did take the middle of the road just to discourage any dive up the inside. Gavin Elston still running a very good second position. You'd be delighted with this. His lap time very consistent. Actually, I say that the last lap he just dropped about half a second to the leader, but that's as much as I've seen him drop in any single lap. I think since we started the race 15 laps ago, he's sitting around 3 seconds behind Brian Henderson, and Gavin was absolutely delighted to have kept that little blue and yellow Honda ahead of him. Not too small in the distance, Jeremy. Good driving again by Gavin.
Exactly what he wants to do here. He says he's obviously stay in touch with Brian Henderson and to have a beautiful car to encourage a teenager these days. And that number
Spencer Pickett's going to be taking over from Peter Montel.
It's been overheating all the way through the weekend, and clearly that car is not running any better.
Nice to see the McLarens back with us again. A little bit of variety. More and more.
She dodged a little bit of a bullet. I know there was contact early on. Worked on the radio. What is this?
Free car. It's in 6th position at the moment and about to put a lap on the
dodging bullets here. That's what it's all about. It's just that competitive.
She was involved in that incident early in the race when she hit. There was an earlier hit as well on of course, the wheel be inside. Now that I've seen that again, actually, I think she actually was
the pit stops are about to start happening. We've got two teams set up and ready to come right now.
They've got a cloud herself as well from Audi behind. That's what sent the car behind to the end. Left rear suspension. Holding on to 6 for Sheena. Very competitive driver. I should say it is deliberate at all.
I'll just kind of keep an eye on them and see how they're going down right now. It's going to be 8 and 83 or something.
Effectively, what I would call instant responsibility. And that's, as I say, making a value judgment and seeing they did it on purpose.
As soon as these are over, I'll probably go down to right.
From these drivers would do that, but it's about incident responsibility.
It's all about if it's no harm, no foul, then fine. But if it's a mistake that causes major consequences for somebody else, then there will be a penalty. We've now got 38 minutes of lap to use, so it's not. This is not soon enough to make the driver change. We complete the minimum driver time, so it's going to go with the fast MD racing Audi. This is going to be very, very costly running,
and so there's no reason to be shooting that. So we're come down here.
5th position before this pit stop.
Yep, no worries.
Adam is watching it for us. Looked like there was a bit of body work. I think
it's going to be
car as well here.
Yeah, haphazardly chucked
good times. I would think they may run him to the end of a step.
With that situation. Yes, very odd stop. They came into the pit lane. They changed those rear tires. They fully refueled it. Alex Papadopoulos, though, not that far off the pace of his co-driver James Vance. Very impressive start in this car, particularly at Daytona for the Fast MD organization. Now, Alex will go back out. He can run another 40-ish minutes before he has to come in and hand over to James so that James can meet minimum drive time.
It's an odd one, that, because it was just a little bit before 40 minutes, so that's not a tactical stop in the truest sense of the word. It may have been something with time going down, something like that, but it isn't able to accommodate things on the run. But I'm absolutely guessing on that until we get news from the pit lane. At the front of the field, Dylan Batman is just closing down a wee bit on Maxwell Road. It's on fractions here, but it's now down under 5 seconds, and we're also getting news in that battle we were watching earlier on in TCR for position. Michelin has been attracting the attention of the race officials, Shane.
He has been warned of walking, and now, by the way, Nico is officially seconds of the already. Carbon with American Audi. I'll get to that in a second, but yes, Rory Vanderster got the ire of race control warning for walking, so they will be paying extra attention to that car. For the Audi, the pit stop fuel tires, and Tom Dyer installing the supplemental oil in that car, as they just have to roll it forward ever so slightly to get the fuel probe attached. But other than that, just sit back and feel pit stop race.
Also the number 10 car move up into the this car to Scott Andrews here from Australia.
Schotzacker is into the pit lane, having completed minimum drive time, and will be handing over to 2019 TCR Series champion, Mark Wilkins. Welcome back from Canada, Mark. Also a two-time winner of the Sebring 12 Hours, Mark Wilkins, so he knows how to go around here. Fuel rear tires for the mantra as we wait for the other one to come in, but in the meantime, Dylan McInerney picked from second place in the Turner Motorsport BMW. This one is the all yellow and blue, not wearing dual livery. This one is not a zebra, but it does have a goat. Phil Auberlen is up on the wall, and he is waiting to jump in with, guess what, stiffened Michelin tires. It's Christmas for Bill.
He will then take it the remaining hour and 18 minutes. So this is the fourth turner. Car, which is still advancing with Marletta running in 9th position. Suggest that Finn might be in shortly once they've cleared this area. At the same time, and the car furthest up the standings gets the opportunity to come in first. There's a bit of a problem. Fuel should always be determining factor, and it was there. Just one stop and turn, and the car is back down and out. Shit.
And he's followed, actually, he's leaving the pit lane now, but his car did into the pit lane. Vin Barletta in the dual livery Turner Motorsport BMW. So that is not much time at all for Turner to relax or take a deep breath. Take a deep breath on the pit stand. Fuel tires for Robbie Foley for this car, this one being 96. The leader after the win at Daytona in McLaren for AWA, handing over to Kuno. We've got Can Racing, that out, which had Michael McCann Jr. in the start, will now be passed over to the one and only Andrew Davis. And the other car of note, the number 7, Archangel Racing, Alan Rudolphson, getting
I cannot tell you how difficult it is to strap yourself into a racing car. The entire company has just done a history of the radio cord and things like that from Finn getting out of the car. But to actually do your own straps and get them in,
no reason to bring him in any earlier as soon as the window opens. It's a lap time.
You have to do it as muscle memory. Which is exactly what
John Wright has done. Also, Kevin
is on the right,
great
whereas
job
the
Max
car's
has done
is exactly
Max they had Max in the IMSA Cup Series. Moved him over to the America last year where he won a championship. Brought him back here. He said the progression is just absolutely perfect for a young driver. And you can see how one works.
He's saving for the race tomorrow, the 12 hours. He instead has a lot so he did get a little more help from Root than Robbie got from Vin, if you see what I mean there. We've also got Sheena Monk in the pit lane at number 3, Mia McLaren. The race from the first weekend of TCR
the eagle-eyed Alan Prosser has tweeted in at IMSA Radio this weekend. All of us, by the way, the piece of car that we saw being flown around was the piece of car at all. It's the visor and the peak of one of the two members' helmets that was getting in the way, or maybe it partially the frame grab to prove that was the Audi, wasn't it, that came in Mark Douglas. So good spot from Alan Prosser, probably entitled to an account Jeremy Shaw, twin liveries, the BAR Formula 1 team and the Zinc remember that?
Yeah, I think that, but they weren't allowed to run it. I seem to recall. Wasn't that so
No, they never ran it because in the regs in Formula 1 at the time, and still
in TCR run right now,
the two cars have to be identical, and they wanted to use two different brands from their BAR to back no sponsorship on the cars. Now, you've been able to do that in IMSA or in IndyCar or in NASCAR. They've got to put us in. So they put us in down the middle. TCR on TCR, Hyundai and Hyundai at turn number 1, and the car coming very much off the worst there, which is called the Motorsports number 19 machine, which has been turned around rather unceremoniously there. Sorry, not the car, the Bannister Racing car, which was rather nerfed out of the way. The McLaren had just gone through. It was the Cumberland Motorsport car that caused the incident. The Bannister Racing car was very, very good to just get the foot down and put it back in the right direction. I think that might get looked at, that.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm thinking. Interview
This last lap
wise,
around Gavin
the 4 of Russell Ward, they were running in the top 3 or 5. Max Verstappen around in the 16 GS
They are separated by 2 seconds, but the other way around. Sean Quinlan, who's also not yet stopped in the number 43 Cameron Racing BMW. He's one of the last contenders. Latest Brandon Kidd brings the automatic racing in. And the number 4 car of Indy Dodge, he has also been.
I think you do the leader. I think you go to
some debris on the back straight just beside the pit lane exit. Remember, these cars are using the WEC pit lane entry and exit, and a puncture for PF. What's not been there, dear? The 40 Ford and right crash tyre is just about holding on, and that car will limp back to the pit. I reckon that, well, first of all, we might be getting a full course caution on that debris. I think we almost have to. But I reckon that Turner Motorsport have absolutely cracked the pit stop sequence, because they are now ahead of Haaland, and by not an insubstantial amount of time, 6.5 seconds. So did they short fuel over to get that position when they changed? Really impressive. 4 seconds different on the stop, I'm being told by Shea Adam, who also has news about one penalty.
Unfortunately for Team DGM, today goes from bad to worse as their better placed cars, the 64, cannot see people over the wall before the car stops.
How long before you ever get to those?
Right, and lots of debris coming off the back front of that 40 car. Full course yellow.
Now the yellow's
debris
out.
all around the circuit, shedding bits of bodywork and bits of the carcass of the right front. That must have happened very early on in the lap for the PF Mustang. Now, did Quinlan get into the pit before the yellows came out? James Pesic is still limping around. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. 3 seconds before the full course yellow was called. So what a call from the guys at Cameron Racing.
Let's see if we get pit stops for these guys.
But that pit stop, everybody else slowing down under the yellows, Jeremy. They are going to get a net gain out of this, I reckon.
How much time is left?
Will also be good gainers here. One of them being Frank Depew in the Rebel Rock car. He will he?
Because if you stop now, I'm not sure that you can make it.
To come around, but he has not made his pit stop. The 4th position is kind of a second one, but he still needs to hand over that car to Robin Liddell.
Has, I think, just about. He has still on the lead lap though, hasn't he? Yes, he has, yes. So damage to the right front of the PF car. Some brake issues earlier on for that car. I wonder, well, you see, you've got to think, Jeremy, we saw that car running on at least a couple of times. Got to wonder then if it's also maybe been locking tyres and
they won't make it
issues, and that's
GS car won't make it to the end.
Which has caused the issue with the right front again. Yes,
because you want to be inside an hour.
Safety car has been deployed. It's at the moment heading up to Tower Turn. And trying to see who they're trying to pick up. They should be picking up the 95 car, shouldn't they, of Bill Oberlin. However, there are a couple of cars that needs to be waved through, because I can see a couple of the... in fact, they have been waved by. Excellent. The TCR Hyundais, the Brian Herter Autosport cars, look like they might be caught behind the safety car, but they've already been cleared past, so waiting now for Oberlin to catch the safety car.
Or needing to catch Bill Oberlin. That could take a while. He's so fast.
That go around the next straights, it might take a wee while. Who are the winners and losers then after the first 53 minutes of the LMJ On-Book Network 120? Will certainly turn a motorsport. Bill Oberlin, Jeremy, who turned that car around 4 seconds quicker than Wright Motorsport. Will that come back to bite them later on? Was there something tactical there about them just basically waiting till all 4 tyres were changed and then dropping the car? Whatever it is, it's worked for them, and they have got track position. They did have about 6 seconds, of course, on Jan Halen and Wright Motorsports before the full course caution came out.
Yeah, actually, on the lap before the pit stops, the number 16 car led the number 95 BMW by 4.3 seconds. That was the gap as across the line to complete lap 19. Number 16 car was in the next time around. The number 95 car, excuse me, a lap after the 95 car came into the pits. And look, we have to see on the next round of pit stops how long their pit stops are. I fancy that the number 95 car at least split the race into 3/3 in terms of the fuel load. Yeah. So not put a full fuel load in for the first one. So they will need, they won't need a full tank, but they'll need 3/4 of a tank of fuel on their second stop. The number 16 car, if they put a full tank in this time, they will need a shorter stop next time around. So the strategy is can alter as the race goes towards its conclusion. So it's too early to say, because they're not going to tell us that they put on those cars in pit stops. So we'll have to wait and see. That is most likely conclusion. I would take to that, because the 16 team right now is going to get their very confident. Some video of that shot, and there didn't seem to be any problems during the pit stop, and I'm sure it would have been a good in-lap for Max Root, good out-lap from Jan Halen. So I'm certainly interested in their change of positions. This is going to be a fascinating contest from here to the end. So top 3 then, the 4th place car, Frank DeVue has not, so he will be in once the pits are opened. The next 3 cars on the racetrack, the TCR leaders in 5th, 6th and 7th places overall. Gavin Ernstone in the number 61 Audi, then the 2 Hondas of Brian Henderson in colour 84 and Mike Lamara in colour 73. Those also yet to make their first pit stop. So this caution period will favour the teams that have already made their pit stops. The TCR, that would include how far we've got to go down? Got to go quite a long way down before we see the first team that has made a pit stop, and in fact that would be Parker Chase, I believe, who's right now in 11th place. He and his Brian Herter Elantra teammate Mark Wilkins both made their pit stops already, as has the 2 cars behind them, which is 19 and 17. So they, I think, all will be on the lead lap, and they will cycle to the front when the other cars ahead of them come in to make their scheduled pit stops.
I do like, on a race of this length, actually on a race of any length, but particularly these Michelin Pilot Challenge races, I do like that tactic of splitting the race into thirds, thereby doing 2 pit stops, which are potentially slightly shorter than the long stop that somebody is going to do. The disadvantage of it, Jeremy, is that in terms of strategy, there might not have quite enough fuel on board to go long if you want to go long. And once you've made that decision, you're rather tied into it, and you've got to hope that the race itself falls around what you want to do.
Yeah, indeed. So, it's a gamble in some ways, and whether the gamble pays off, there is some luck involved. There's also a lot of strategic nous goes in.
Absolutely.
Those decisions when you make the pit stop.
Which in fact Q is doing right now for Rebel Rock Racing. The distinctive blue and white helmet of Scotsman Robin Liddell about to get in. Adam.
Cast your mind back to, well, November, not quite a year ago. It was about 30 seconds that Frank Dupuis was short on drive time, meaning that they had down to the pit lane. Race. Well, today Frank Dupuis has done his time and then some. So Robin Liddell should be after this and only needing to come back down and for a quick splash of also into the pits. We have the 64 Team TG and Camaro. That one still owes us a drive through, but of course that penalty cannot be served under a full course caution condition. We had fuel for Trent Hinton in the yellow Aston Martin for Archie Motorsport, and then of course the DF Racing Mustang is back into the pit lane. Fuel, driver change, and tires. So now it is Chad McCumbin behind the wheel of that one.
Slight wheel, probably go into the second half of the race before we go back to green flag racing. So Gavin Ernston is now leading TCR. How did he get ahead of Ryan Henderson?
Well, we talked about that. We passed him just a couple of laps before the course came on. See why, how, all of a sudden he had 1 second behind by now.
Yes.
Then later this lap round, he was 2 seconds ahead of him. Well, that's why we didn't see. But yes, that position change had taken place just a couple of laps before the course.
Yeah, he dropped down to only about 3 seconds as far back as he could. So really good drive by Gav, and leading the race there before caution. Steve Tapman tweets us at IMSA Radio saying Sebring looks like it's made for the TCR class. Some really great battles going on. I'm guessing the damper settings would have been played with a lot because of the bugs. Would this advantage some teams over others? Sorry, I'm being slightly facetious there, Steve. I didn't really mean to be. I suspect what Steve is asking there, Jeremy, is whether it favours some models of longer wheelbase car, the car's slightly longer between wheels, it tends to be
Kevin's
a little bit
have
better
the 61
over the
after
bumps.
me, correct?
I have to say, I'm not with TCR cars might be a little longer between the wheels, but just to look at it, it would suggest to me the Hondas were a bit short. They are going very well at the moment.
In terms of speed, last year the Hyundais definitely hadn't. They'd earned themselves an advantage over everybody else, but that was definitely narrowed down towards the end of the season by some changes to the balance of performance. And we saw at Daytona the new sequential gearboxed Audi was very much the class of the field there. But I think we'll have to wait and see now in the second part of this race. I think those sequential Audis are going to be in pretty good shape. The bad news, of course, for the number 61 car that currently leads is that they've not yet made their first pit stop. The good news is, however, coming in right now.
Yes, exactly.
But the good
61
news
goes by, waiting for the third place
car
car here. Mike Mara in the 73 lane on the World Honda Civic. They had a great run going some 42 minutes into the Daytona round with the engine let go. That is very rare. Says they have a good car. It is handling well. He's just hoping no overheating issues. They should be good for the
stops for the leading TCR runners that had not stopped.
everyone in 12th into the pits except for Dennis Dupont in that 19 for Van der Steur Racing in the Audi. So let me give you a quick update on what's been going on. The 61 driver change, John Morley in for Gavin Ernstone. Brian Henderson into the pit lane in the 84. I said, because I got an answer on that. It was a soft going wrong on that car that allowed Gavin Ernstone to get by in the Honda. That's going to be an extra long stop for the Atlanta Speedworks car before they put Robert Noaker in. They're going to make sure that the brakes are still okay on the 84. We had the 73 Honda in. That was Mike Lamar bringing in Matt Conway, taking back out to the tires. Yes, they're up front. Long stop as well for the 88 Honda, the 77 Hyundai. Taylor Hagler, they changed drivers. AJ Musk also got a 51 Hyundai. But we had the 33 back down the pit lane. That was Mark Wilkins. Splash and dash for that car. They had already done their long stop. That car is now good to go to the end.
Yeah, very, very smart thinking by the cars that Jeremy mentioned. Now having made 2 stops, but of course they didn't need a full tank of fuel, and they'd already changed their Michelin tyres, so they basically refilled the car to full again and sent them, so they'll get track position out of that. That was smart thinking on the fly. More brake fluid being added to the Atlanta Speedworks Honda. Another car, Jeremy, as we heard from that VP Racing Fuel pit paddock report from Shea, another car with braking problems this weekend.
Yeah, it would seem so. It's been a challenging weekend for this number 84 team, but the 84 car's running beautifully. Is second pole in as many races, and for a good portion of
I was going to say I would
stint.
want to get several laps in. I think
now. They've had problems all weekend long. The car's been overheating, and they clearly haven't been able to figure it out because Greg Stroll, he's a quick driver, but he's lap times are very on the pace of the first hour of this race.
Just hearing from eyes around the track, thanks Steph for this, the PF Mustang still with a problem, right rear tyre catching bodywork by the sound of it, so we'll keep an eye on that, and if that's it, a real issue. First full course yellow of the LJ Automotive Network 120, and on to one of the Orange Army, just for the UK, first 30 minutes or so, but has is catching up now. Yes, it is. Thanks for the hard work and service. All of the flaggers, marshals, track services, thank you very much indeed for all your hard work. So 55 minutes still to go, and we're going back to green. A single file restart, so you cars on the right. Trade. 54 and 88, definitely outside on the inside. On the circuit, it's like Johnson Racing. TCR Hyundai for Stephen Simpson. Back to green. Bill Oberlin under pressure. Dan Halen tries to get down the inside. The right motorsports car, but Bill Oberlin's going very wide. Indeed, in turn 1, and Halen managed to hold the inside line. That Porsche was absolutely superb there, just right starting off. What racing now? It really seems to have been able to tighten the lock. It did, it was working for them. Dan Halen went to quite much. So all the tactics, all the hard work, whatever else went on, turned the 4.5 second deficit to 6.5 seconds at lead before the yellow flags came out. Has gone in the blink of an eye. Jan Halen leads, Oberlin second, Indy Dutchie. Adam, we're looking at this as an individual race. Of course we are, because that's what we do. But in championships, it's totally different agendas going on from the guys at the front of the field.
Championship, we're in race 2 and already absolutely so crazy. All right, leading the field yet again, yes, Daytona, not in the championship, doesn't matter. Second place Milwaukee, second in points. You might be asking, the Force and Black McLaren of AWA, they lead the way. Right now, Whitmer says easy to stay on points and stay ahead of us.
Ahead of Whitmer by 3.5. Ross is right in there as well, but still racing cinnamon coloured car. Inside of McLaren. Oh, he turns in just to the places to McLaren there. Down at turn 7, turn into the second of them, and that is Spencer Piggott for the Motorsport Action in McLaren. Defence that was going on by Lee Dodge was really focused on almost even 10th
show you what he
position.
can do
Trent's
with a
got
car,
a couple of
not his
seconds to
mouth.
make up on Greggy Learfug in the Sim Cameron Racing F4 BMW. But it's not going to take him long. He keeps turning in the lap times in advance. 2 seconds. Indeed, Bill Oberlin puts in the fastest lap of the race. 0.005. Oh, penalty for the 88 car. Shane Adam. This is an interesting one.
Pass under yellow, so this is a penalty for the TCR Honda that was doing so well on the run. By the way, Owen Trinkler in the 64 still yet to serve the penalty. He still has a couple of laps of the green flag he needs to do it, or else the car is going to stop being safety.
Most of it is frozen almost always. Well, it is for safety procedures. Therefore,
another 5
TCR battles then.
You're going to be in the window for
Manchester Raceway in the 19 when they lost energy controlling it. Yellow, white, black TCR Audi 17. Starts working out really well for them. They managed to hold on to their position. Then Matt Pomble for LA Honda World Racing. John under attack from Matt at turn 17. Got a little love tap. I'm here. Hi John. Hi John, it's your mate. Hello. Yes, me in the Honda. Hello. Just a little friendly reminder. Don't forget we are looking for the minus point of the race. Mercedes and I working that one out. It's the 96 Robin Foley, Shea Adam.
This might just be a splash of fuel for Robbie Foley with the Turner
16 setting up 16
overalls, or at least it looks that way from the onboard camera on Robbie Foley. He hit his helmet against the back as if he's looking for something or as if he's frustrated, comes into the box, stops on his marks perfectly, shuts the car off, waiting to be told to restart and then go again. I think this is just a splash of fuel. Car is still on all 4 of its tires. Rob is actually using the passenger mirror to find out when it is safe to go yet again.
Must be a rear tyre. Must be a rear tyre. I'm not sure why he shuts it off in speed, does he?
He will get creative from here. He was going to be the second pit stop. I think it's got 45 minutes remaining in this race. Makes the first to make the final stop. Then I think unfortunately he will decide to wait for top 6, so we should be able to do that. So if there isn't a problem, that would be pretty much okay for that team.
That should be Michelin Pilot race. That wins the race for them because he has, as you rightly say, Jeremy, get the last stop first. It's one of those adages in motorsport, but it's really good that because it's right most of the time. Down the inside, turn 7, Murillo Racing number 56 AMG, and that is Eric Voss fighting away. It's the BMW behind him. The tangerine and blue car. That is the 43 Stephen Cameron Racing LLC. Right in behind them is the Charging Fault Racing with Archangel driver Trent Hinman. As Jeremy said, he was on a bit of a charge. He's now made that. Here's the other turning car coming in. So I reckon, Jeremy, will tell us crunch the numbers and in comes the lead we've got first and second shade in the pit lane.
Robbie Halen, this is number 16, right motorsports Porsche, the final pit stop in the Pilot Challenge at Sebring. No tires, no hose. That's just how good this Porsche is.
Great athleticism by the refueler actually to pull himself up off of the Porsche with the slanting nose and then move himself out of position of danger, waiting for the BMW. Fuel probe is still attached. How much fuel does Bill Auberman need to get to the end of this one? Still going. Where's the Porsche? Porsche's going to be making it out first. How close is Bill?
Closer than I thought. I'll be honest, that's closer than I thought it would be, Jeremy.
That's about 4 or 5 seconds or so. That's about what we expected because that was how much shorter the first pit stop was for the 16 car than the 95. And so a bit longer than that, I think it was actually the gap between them. Also, a bit later was Trent Hinman.
The athleticism to which you referred, and the Porsche is filled to the area. It's obviously being a mid-engine car. Normally you'd put your shopping in there, but the fuel tank is at the front of the rear engine car. So that's why the fuel bill is operating.
Taken over from Gavin Hill, and now tracking down the racing. In Europe, he's living now in Montreal in Canada, but he is going to find leads the class now. He's taken over Rory Bannister, but I think those two have been wrong before he's just
One run down pit lane for Imandaci into the stop. Tires on the wall, but I don't believe they're going to go on right now. After we saw him struggle with the car a little bit, perhaps, like I said, maybe just a little pickup on the tire on those unconventional time figures, but Imandaci must be satisfied enough.
Fuel times from the pit lane. What do you have?
Well, this is interesting because the 16 Wright Motors Porsche is in pit lane for 55 seconds total. The BMW is 50 seconds. So when you include the decimal misstep, it's very close to being a 30-second difference.
Turner Motorsport as he's trying to come through. Those cars have made their final pit stop. Let's see. It's the best class, Jeremy, of the GT's car that's made their final pit stop. It's John Halen as the comes back. He's heading to an end of a race run. Mustang inside of two TCR cars right on the start finish line. Little dab on the brakes to make sure he's on the
That's the number 17 car going ahead of the number 19. So Mikey Taylor takes the lead at the dominant yellow. Wanting to get some elements for him, takes the lead from Dylan Taylor.
Yes, so important when you're racing those cars, you get really involved. When you're a GX car with more performance potential, you get involved in that. That's extreme track racing etiquette. Yes, everybody's got their races to run. Those guys are racing for a race victory. Whereas the 40 car, of course, having had its trials and tribulations, today is down in 18th position. These class champs have been clearly wanting to get up the field and try and get back on terms, but 4 laps away from the lead in class. IMSA Radio and IMSA TV together. Round 2 of the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge for 2020. Jeremy Shaw, me, John Hindhoff in the Hackney Global Broadcast Centre. Shea Adam on duty as the VP Racing Field Pit and Paddock reporter. And starting to see some pit stops now. Shea Adam, the lead of the race, the AWA Master
Yeah, McLaren into the pit lane, staying aboard fuel and tires. They are doing more McLaren to try and give Kuno the best possibility of they possibly can. Now the McLarens are different than the other GT cars. Jackson rolling once again, so that is a slight issue for them, but pick up the position. It's got to be that
something that we mentioned earlier on.
Indy Dodgy, warning, aware of his behavior. The next time he does it,
the issue there is, I know it's not it's Tuesday, fighting the battle across the road between Jeremy. That was for very smart racing driver. Normally, fighting through traffic. At the moment, it's 8th place in GS, so 5 seconds. And right motorsports, Jan Halen driven Porsche, as they're coming back through the field. They've got another 10 TCR cars. Watch out, by the way, for Rubber Rock Racing in the Chevrolet Camaro in 6th position. Robert Littell now just a second and a half away from the LMP Motorsports number 10 Mercedes, and Robert's just put his fastest lap of the race in at 2:12.3. Cars slightly ahead of him. Last with so he's been out there since 12th lap out of the pits. Can't call the race yet. He's in the window to get to the end from here, Joe.
Yes, and quite a few people turned their fastest up to the Dodge, just took his best lap. In the seat, Cameron racing BMW in second place, Helen 43, in second two. This battle for TCR is absolutely tremendous.
legs together, yeah, and there's a second touch there. They're very lucky to get out of that without damage, very
Which one was that one? I didn't see that.
81 has just gone behind the wall. That's the Sebring International Raceway. I'll bring some news on that in a little while. We're into the closing stages officially. The closing stages of the race. We're getting on for half an hour. Just on half an hour of the race still to go. So the last quarter of this race to play out the tactics. Still to look into it. We've still got a few cars ahead of the field who have not yet ride on night feet and getting a lot of nice track. Most of those cars now mentioned a moment or two ago the braking issues with the car earlier on, Shane.
Yeah, no, a lot bigger braking issues than they even thought. It had just been a soft pedal, as reported by Brian Henderson. Well, they got it into the pit lane, they got it then behind the wall, and when they got to the brake line, they noticed that it had split and broke and was dumping fluid into the back of the car. So that was the issue. We will now be seeing the 84 back on the track, which is really bad news because Brian Henderson, what a drive for his opening stint.
Very dangerous as well because all that fluid
I'm
is
sitting here going,
very flammable.
yeah.
Very flammable indeed. Of the four cars in the front, Robert has been in the best position in terms of fuel. I don't think that suggesting that he will get to the end of the race, but he's on his 15th lap of the stint. The LMP Motorsport Mercedes Andrews ahead of him is on his 21st. Gregory Learfuger is on his 17th, and Spencer Piggott leading the race at the moment in the McLaren is on his 19th. As I say, not suggesting that Robert Liddell can again beat up on his top four cars. He needs the smallest amount of fuel, which means he needs to stand still the least amount of time to get that fuel in to the car. It's not going to hold on to his position to the finish, so it's ahead of Jan Hurley, who is lining up a wee bit quicker than Robert at the moment. So the question is going to be as far as the show. The first three can't be very long, but as you said, Robert, probably 3 or 4 laps minimum better off than all the to go, turn 1, claims another victim. Turner Motorsport BMW. Indeed so.
Well, that's effectively the second position once the other guys have made their pit stops, because they're 7 seconds behind Jan Heyden as he crossed the line to complete lap 37. Now he's lost that position to Indy Donccia, and Trent Hinton is closing in on those two as well. 7 faster line.
Yeah, it's a good point you make there, Jeremy, about what that means. That means Bill Oberlin has indeed dropped out of the second spot of the cars that have been leading the last pit stop. The TCR battle will continue with the DuPont driven Van der Steur racing car, and Matt Pombo still having a fantastic scrap over third and fourth position. Stu Allen will give us more updates on cars that have been suffering. This time it's Brian Hearn of Motorsport with Curb, Agajanian, Hyundai Elantra machine.
But they came into the pit lane when everybody else took their pit stops. They just came back down the pit lane for a splash. They also took front tires because they realized that they couldn't make it, which means that we should be seeing more and more TCR cars come to pit lane too, as everybody can do at the same time. As a matter of fact, here is it right now. Mikey Taylor, without that leads the TCR points after one race weekend alongside Chris Miller. He's back in the pit lane. Let's see if he does only fuel or if they give him tires too. Good. Here's new Michelin's up on the wall, so this is going to be an interesting fight to the end.
Put two tires on as it's going to cost them time. The they're nowhere near getting those tyre changed. Tyres have changed.
7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, and there's a problem with the left front too. Okay, they've now lost seconds. And the red front tire is going on. The left front tire is sitting lamely on the pit lane though, as they've noticed something within that portion of the car, which means by my maths, by the end of this race, we're going to have a new championship leader, and it's not going to be the 17.
I think it's it looks like it's a or a brake issue on that car, and if it is a brake issue, that would not be the first one we've seen. So that is, I'm afraid, very bad news for the championship leader. John Morley's gone through into the lead there, Jeremy, in the Roadshagger Racing Audi RS3 TCI. He's got a couple of seconds on the Honda in second, but surely after all of what we've seen, if people are feeling that they can't go to the end, normally get their calculations wrong. This is going to be this time not perhaps for speed, but for fuel economy.
And Charles They stayed out longer than most of the other contenders as well. But and right now he's taking advantage of a good stop there to get back up to the back of the field. Clearly the sequential Audi is a very, very fast car in TCR.
Yeah, and don't forget it was off the road not so very long ago in turn 1. Gavin Edstone did an hour and 6 minutes in the pits. That was 23 laps, the last 2 of which were under yellow. At the moment, John has been out some 30 minutes. His first lap was under yellow. That would suggest to me that he will be able to get to the end without slowing. Fabulous, really, really good for them and the team. Possible candidate for the pilot in TCR. Still the battle going on, by the way, between Bill Oberlin and Indy Dodgy for the second position when all the pit stops play out. Bill went off the road a little while ago and gave that position up, and I think he's just going to back, hasn't he?
He's up too close to him, within a second of him, just closing in a couple of tenths a second on that lap. Spencer Big in that ring centre.
They're not going to need a lot of fuel, but there is one Michelin tire over the wall left front right now.
It's been a good run.
I think they just gambled. They were running up front. They knew that if they stop earlier, they were going to drop back in. So you just stay out at that point in time.
The entire time that they are leading tires, so the GS cars needing a lot more fuel.
It's done.
Different burn rates. It was a very good stop by the GS crew, and there is a tiny bit of damage person I spotted on the right front of that car after the first lap contact with car number 46 from Team TG out of their Camaro, remember? But clearly not slowing the car down from any perspective at all. Moving back to the pit lane, also number 10 for LAP Motorsport, their Mercedes. That will be Scott Andrews staying aboard that Mercedes, and somebody else just stepped into the pit lane. It's TCR. It's number 19, Denny Dupont, who was the only TCR car that did not move down the pit lane when everybody else did. Well, now he's making his first stop, and it should be a significant longer one than the other TCR pit stops we've seen, because he's going to need a lot more fuel.
And bad news if you're a follower of the Unitronic JDC Miller Motorsports team. Michael Castillo has been back to the pits again. That was a pit lane speed violation, and that has dropped him an awful lot of real estate down the field in the TCR category, currently led by John Morley for Rojanga Racing. They'll have done the first hour and 6 minutes of the race, and that car has got the fastest lap of the race as well. Sits currently in 9th position overall, with 4 TCR pit stops ongoing, share with 22.5 minutes still to go.
They did fuel and front tires for Denny Dupont, so it was more significant than just the refueling. And now he'll be sent back out for the remainder of this race. 22 minutes to go. As you rightly say, Mikey Taylor still sitting on the pit lane. They're still working on that left front wheel. Unless if they do manage to get the car back out, they'll have to make an immediate trip back down the pit lane to serve the drive-through.
Copy that. How much time is left in the race?
Over the limit.
I'm
all right,
sure
here's
what's
my
going on there.
Here's my conundrum now.
I think they're using to try and stop the.
We can go talk to Max Root, but if they win this race, he's going to be right back in victory circle shortly after that. So it's entirely
for championship contenders. You would have to say that number 17 would to see them doing.
Like I said, I think we can talk to
so at the front of the field now, just 2 cars,
like you were
Jeremy
saying,
Shaw,
we're not trying
that
to
have
fill
not made their final
where there's
pit
nothing
stop.
racing no racing going
David
on.
Cameron Racing, BMW 12 seconds on Robert Liddell. Robert with nearly 20 seconds on Jan Hill, and that was 25 the last time. 4 last time around for Robin. Jan 12-2, so more than a second better off for the racing pack.
Yeah, more than a second quicker is Jan Halen than the Chevrolet Pinto, which is that gap that's back down by about 1.5 seconds a lap actually over the last 7 or 8 laps. But in the meantime, he can go
see the 5 car,
Aston Martin
5
Trent Hinman,
and TCR.
This is the battle is going to be continuing now.
If they can get to him on camera if he's doing anything, I think it might be worth it. They led at Daytona and they got taken out, and then they had a problem with qualifying, and then started at the back because of changing tires down there. If they finish on the podium, that'll be huge.
The 2 minutes 12 is and leads 10.8 for Jan Halen, and that is, by the way, a new lap record. In the Chevrolet, 2 minutes 10.933. The new standard, 2 minutes 10.889 for Jan Halen.
Whilst we're talking about trying to take that record back as long as you can into this race. Going to need some yellow to get him home, quite a bit of yellow I would have thought, but as we said earlier on, the tie has been passed to them now, so they'll go as long as they can and then take as little amount of fuel as they can to get back out on the track. They know they're going to lose track position, may pick up the top 6 or 7 finish the Level 1 Racing rookie season documentary coming soon. Adrian Vento, the director, working hard to give the drivers a video that is particularly immersive. I think that is such a the trailer in itself is celebrating almost like a soccer player on a yellow card. He's been warned for blocking already because he couldn't pull to the inside there, and he's now finding the balance. He thinks he can do. It was a 2:12.4 last time around for Hindman, and a 2:12.1 for Indy Doncic. Sorry, 2:12.1 and 2:12.4 Doncic last time around. But if he can bridge the gap and get further up the field, might be here something better even than the net third place, Jeremy, that Trent Hinman is holding on to at the moment.
Yeah, it's been a brilliant performance, really, hasn't it, by Rock Racing with Archangel. Preparation of Harlan on the springs on the back. They also qualified third. They had to start at the back before the inspection. Then there was a drive-through for the all-round race. Timing their pit stops was, I think, they stopped just before the caution start came out. They came in and gained plenty of fuel, and then stopped again once they could get to the end. So I think it's been a great strategic race. It's still there at the 17th.
Yes, moment of the race. On the fly. They wouldn't have expected to take that penalty. They would have expected to start from back. So you try and change planning. Good. So let me just go through again at the front of the field. Two cars yet to stop. Leader looking at lap 23 since he came Robert Liddell.
I'm going to tell you
at the moment. If you prefer it in time, well, 4 yellow flag laps for been out there for 52 minutes at the moment, whereas Liddell, who had just 2 yellow flag laps at the start of the stint, has been out there 45 minutes. Since he came out. There's 15 minutes to go. Not down to my mind. How far can they go into this race? And what still is to unwind in terms of any drama on the track.
One of these races.
The Pilot Challenge race? Never going to happen. John Morley still leading TCR, 11th position overall with about a second and a half of Scott Andrews in between him in the Mercedes. In fact, no, Scott's just gone through, so that's a battle that's starting to warm up again in TCR.
Very much so, yeah. Mark Pombo is really charging hard with number 73 car here. He's not giving up. The sequential Audi is, but the Hondas have got, they had a new lease of life towards the end of last season when they got a break on bounce performance, and now they are competitive again. The Atlanta native, second generation driver. His father Pepe was quite a star. His brother Matt had a lot of success in their own lives. Hugely experienced is Matt, of course, and as is his teammate Mike Lamar, who was a former series champion in the, what was then the ST division back in 2014. Matt Lamar now is charging after John Morley, and he's got another win in his sights. He's had 7 wins in the series previously. He'd like to make it number 8.
Adam has a Honda update in this weekend as you feel that we have.
And sparked actually the 17 in retaliation to come back down the pit lane, which ultimately responded. And then that car, I don't know we're going to be having more TCR pit callers. It was indeed a former team that didn't get out the first time that they thought they did, which was big pit stop when all the other TCR cars came back down the pit lane. So it shouldn't trigger the Thursday stay out, but I don't expect to see them coming back down.
Officially now retired the number 81 Sebring Motorsports under Velostas Esther. Mikey Taylor has exited the pits, so that 17 car has dropped back out of the pits. And has certainly penalties as well for the pit street. That's why there's so many pit stops next to that car. Back for TCR though. Ross Anderson is the airfield as they're heading towards turn 10. And a measure drive. John Hawley, 12th position.
Used it on the pit stop.
Right there. Those two with some gap actually between themselves and next car up. It's about 10 seconds to get back down the road. It's got the GS cars between them. So with 12 and a half minutes to go, Jeremy, these are the two I think that are battling for the win in TCR through Jean de Bian S's, the vets at the far side of the track.
What the brand is, but they've had
no, absolutely. So now it's a question GS 4371 tomorrow. Big slide by the LA Honda World TCR car in second position and drops the right rear Michelin over that very, very sharp edge curve at the exit of turn 1. Didn't really slow it down at all though. That right now underneath the rear wing of the Audi as they came through turn 4, 5 and into turn 6, the big bend. But the Audi punches out of those corners very well indeed, down in the braking area at 7. Back before the lead, TCR crowd over there as well, enjoying the late afternoon sunshine at Sebring International Raceway for round 2 of the Michelin Pilot Challenge 2021. It's the LMJ Automotive 120 live in sound and vision on IMSA TV and www.imsamracing.com. Jeremy Shaw, John Hindhaugh, Shea Adam into the final 10 minutes. This is not over yet, Jeremy, not over at all. There's the sniff of the top step of the field. More than that, the LA Honda World Racing and that Honda Civic.
Yeah, no, battles going on here as well. It's interesting to see that, I mean, there's battles all down the field. Cars getting times, really fascinating race. I can't believe that the two leaders get to the end without the special go back. It was a full course. That's what they are. Richardson right now, number 71 out in front. TCR continues to get to the clouds. So we're running 8 and 9 positions right now. Spencer Biggett in front of the screen, ahead of the AWA car. With his but it's still 5 seconds between them. We've got 10 minutes to go, which is that's a bit of good as well. Before the round of pit stops, the final round of pit stops, number 13 from Canada have done a really good, well, they're both from Canada actually, aren't they? The MIA and AWA. They've both done a good job. I've seen that number 43 Stephen Cameron racing BMW. It's been out on its own for Robin Liddell.
And Greg is now being out laps of his 24 under full course yellow. The key thing for me, Jeremy, is Leeuwenhoek now is what, half a minute ahead of Jan Geer, 40 seconds ahead of Gillorbelen in fourth position. Really, how long is it going to take him to get down the pit lane and splash? I would suggest he's certainly got to be looking at a top 5, top 6 position, even if he does stop. He's going to go for it. I think he'd go for it, don't he?
Certainly Robert Liddell, no question about that.
The problem is he's been caught too quickly.
Yeah, Robert Liddell is in fact the leader by probably now a couple of seconds a lap or a second and a half a lap. Gregory Leeuwenhoek, he's got a huge amount of experience in the Michelin Pilot Championship and of course in BMWs as well over the years, and he knows.
He's in the pits.
Yeah.
All right, in the pits now. So I reckon Robert Liddell could go 1, maybe 2 more laps from here. I don't think Liddell can make it even at the pace that he is going. He wasn't fuel saving when he got into the car. Here's Liddell coming towards the pit entrance, and Leeuwenhoek in the pit lane. Shea Adam.
They said, well, didn't want to come away potentially with 17 place points for not making it to the end of the race, and they are still they could have done it for
maybe they didn't get the fuel probe on quite as they wanted to. A bit of smoke coming from the left rear of Robert Liddell's Camaro. Now, is that tyre smoke or is it engine smoke? I'm not sure. Oh, that looks like it might be oil smoke. Robert looking in his left-hand door mirror. It's getting worse as he goes down to turn 4. Let's have another look underneath the differential, and coming out the back of that car, there's definitely something coming out of it. He slows to turn into turn 3. Meantime, the battle for TCR continues. Well, it may be being moot that the fuel situation, because that looks like something more fundamental. Maybe he's been quite a problem on that car from racing it out of the grid.
Yeah, perhaps so. That could be the case, of course. That's an awful lot of smoke.
3 more laps, I reckon, before the question will be, is it dropping anything onto the track? And you know that looks like there's a.
You talked about coming out he did actually cross the line after making that stop in the
we don't know what happened at the stop there, because it did seem as though they took an inordinately long time. It was 13, 14 seconds ahead of Liddell. Stays out. So he goes past the pit entrance now and stayed out. The tyres catch me, as I say. He stays out as long as he can. The bright blue Porsche is picking its way through TCR traffic and has Robert inside down the back screen. It's down to 4 seconds now. Another almost 4 seconds disappeared on the last lap, Jeremy, and this is getting quite in time, because what have we got? We've got 3.5 minutes to go. 1 more lap after this one.
Yeah, 2 more laps, absolutely right, yes. Well, now you've got 3 laps.
Stay out.
That's the end of the
Stay
race.
out. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. So So that's the black flag with the orange disc. It's a mechanical issue flag. So long as they don't give him a black flag.
How much time is left on the race?
Black flag. Is it 3 laps for a mechanical black flag? Let's check that one out.
Generally speaking, for structural flag.
Here's what I'm interested in. I'd have to pull the rule book out because I don't have it with me right now, but
Shit.
you're allowed to see the black flag.
A black with orange disc, aka default flag, indicates a car with mechanical fault. Immediate action required. Stop at your pit next time at the pit entrance. That's pit 27.6.
Where on the track did he get the flag? Because we are talking again. This is November all over again, Shane, isn't it? You know, looking for a great result, and in the dying moment, realising that Frank de Puy needed another 30 seconds of drive time. Dying moments here, realising he's got one more lap to go at the end of this one. The gap has actually gone out because Jan Helen did a 13.5 last time around, and Robin Liddell took time out of him.
I wonder whether the number 16 car they took on as much fuel as they thought they were going to need to get to the end of the race, so he's assuming
this will be lap 27 completed for Robin Liddell. He stayed out and he'll get the white flag this time around. This will be controversial. This might end up in the steward's room afterwards. Jan Helen has got 3 3/4 miles or thereabouts to catch Robin Liddell. This is going to be a big story here. Our Michelin Pilot moment of the race may not yet have been set in GS. He may not even keep it with the big ball flag out. I didn't see it again over the start-finish line there. It has been shown once. And Jan Helen reporting that he's got no grip. Tyres have gone good on fuel, but it's an issue for them, having maybe pushed too hard in the early parts of the race. What I can't remember, Shane, is did they take 4 tyres when they were in the Wright Motorsports Porsche? Yeah, exactly. So that's the issue there. John Bowling is just about hanging on to the TCR lead, and in fact he's pulled out for 1.2 seconds. Urban Grid, Rebel Rock Racing, Frank de Puy and Robin Liddell. What a famous victory this will be. We'll give you our choices for pilot moment of the race, but at the moment it's just too much going on. Of course he can't pick now, even if he wanted to, because he wouldn't get to the checkered flag, because the pits are on the back straight. He stayed out, he has stayed out. Helen has got it down to under 4 seconds, but Liddell is going to take this one on the track, and it'll be sorted out later. He's, whatever was burning off is gone. There's nothing left of it. You always wonder, is that okay? Or is that catastrophic? It could not yet be over the drama. We've said that before. Return second for the final time. Rebel Rock Racing in the Urban Grid Camaro. Scotsman Robin Liddell finishes the job that Frank de Puy started and takes round 2 of the Michelin Pilot Challenge at Sebring. Now this one's going to take some sorting out. Wright Motorsports Jan Helen in second. Bill Allwood will hold on to third, just ahead of Trent Hinman, who was right there on the line. Then Leofung led for so long but needed the splash at the end. Indy Dodger in 6th position after a good first stint from Russell Ward for Winward Racing. That's your top 6 in TCR. Bowley has got the gap between himself and Matt Paulson for LA Underworld Racing. Well, Jeremy, what a race. What a race this is. I'll ask you about your pilot moment of the races to my 2 co-commentators, but let's see the TCR cars across the line. The Alan J Automotive 120 is already the Alan J Automotive 122. So we've given him a little bit of overtime here. Gavin Earnstone kept it clean even after he was bumped sideways at turn 1 and finished Johnny Morley, Roadshagger, NTCR.
Oh my God!
The pit lane relatively new team to IMSA Racing in the early part of their racing career. Their strategy, Jeremy, I'm going to say that they're my vote for TCR pilot moment of the race for their strategy. They pitted when they thought they could get home, and John's done the job. As the rest of the field comes through, Kevin Grimold in second, Brian Herder Autosport in third, KMW and TMR Alfa Romeo Juliet de Veloce. We can see it now in fourth position, ahead of the Michael Johnson Racing Hyundai Copeland Motorsport 51 in sixth position. Jeremy Shaw. Oh, Robin hasn't got all the way around, I don't think. The car has expired, Shea Adam.
He made it to the entrance of the 12-hour pit lane, pulled over and got out of the car. That's why I was giggling after he crossed the start-finish line. He knew it wasn't going to make it all the way back to the podium. And now Robin is trying to bum a ride to the podium from the safety crew. If he walks down the pit lane, he can get there probably faster.
Wow. Shea, TCR, what's your pilot moment of the race?
John Morley going around the outside of turn 1 to take the lead.
Yeah.
He's got to be it.
Yeah. Jeremy? Yeah, John Morley coming around the outside and taking the win with the strategy as well for Roadshagger.
Yeah, no, they called that absolutely right. Honourable mention certainly for KMW Motorsports with TMR Engineering. Alfa Romeo finishing fourth, coming from the back of the pack. And strongly in the early stages, so a really good run for them also. But no, I think you're absolutely right. Roadshagger Racing, they called it absolutely perfectly, and a great job by both of those two drivers.
Now, a bit harder to decide what's going on in GS because all the results are unofficial. Jeremy, GS, pilot moment of the race?
Gosh, that is a real tough one, isn't it? I think you've got to give it to the winning team, haven't you, for pulling that off?
I think you have.
The strategy was to stay out there, and even with all the dramas that they had and the black flag and everything else, wow, that's astonishing to be able to bring it home and go that far on a tank of fuel.
An hour and 2 minutes for Robin Liddell, an hour and 2 minutes for Frank Depew. They spent the same amount of time in the car. I don't think you're going to argue with that, Shea, are you? Or are you?
I am.
Go on.
My moment of the race was Jan Halen tricking Bill Oberlin into making a mistake in turn 1, because the number of times that's happened, well, that you don't even need a full hand, you need one finger.
Oh, right, yeah, all right, that's a tough one. So I've got the casting vote here. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Even with the race result very much unofficial, I think I'm going to have to go with Rebel Rock, just because it was such a bold move to leave Robin out there. They'd cast the die, and Robin Liddell, we know how fast he is. Well, he was light-footed enough as well. No full send required from the Scotsman. So our two pilot challenge moments of the race for the two winning teams. It's not always like that. In fact, normally our moment of the race is not the leading cars. The fact that it's coming home on a tow rope as well is the certain sense of irony. Jeremy Shaw, brilliant stuff again. Maybe not quite as much side by side that we've seen, but quite a lot of attrition early on. Is there anybody in steering? Yes, there is. I thought I was going to have to say, has everybody forgotten how to race? Can you believe it? At the start of the race, we had 3 cars behind the wall in the first 12 minutes.
Yeah, it was a usual dramatic race, I guess, is what you have to say. But all sorts of action all the way up and down the field, and just trying to work out some of the points tables here. And it's going to be with very few of the top finishers from Daytona in both classes finishing well again here. There's going to be a big shuffle around in the points. The lone exception to that, of course, is Turner Motorsports in the BMW. They were second, Bill Oberlin and Dylan McIvern, at Daytona, and have a third place finish here, so they will lead the points certainly in GS. But this has been a tremendously exciting race that's absolutely lived up to expectations.
Well, first of our regular length races, the Alan J Automotive 120, with plenty going on right into the final moments as the Rebel Rock Racing Urban Grid Camaro is, well, it's been taken back towards the vicinity of Victory Circle. So maybe a word has been had. They may get a slap on the wrist for that, but let's see what happens. It's unofficial at the moment, and we've had no word from race control. I am keeping a very, very beady eye on the race control channel, and as yet I have not seen anything. And the 71 car has been put in the impound, which is what happens to the winning cars. Mechanical black flag came out with 2 laps to go, and the checkered flag ending the race, of course. My goodness me, brilliant stuff. Fastest laps of the race, by the way, Van der Ster Racing in TCR and Wright Motorsport in GS, just for those of you who watch that kind of thing. By the way, if you're listening to us on RS2, just a quick reminder that in about 15 minutes over on RS1, and we'll be off the air by then, so you won't be missing anything.
I'm looking for
is our
Robin.
2021 FIA Formula One World Championship preview. Nick Damon and Sam Collins from F1 TV, and a well-known technical journalist, will be looking over the Formula One's field ahead of their season start in a week or so's time. That's it, in 15 minutes, 9 o'clock UK, that's 5 o'clock Eastern on channel RS1 via the player. Listen live on IMSARadio.com and RadioLeMans.com. Well, in the list of really weird endings to races, Jeremy, I think that's just gone to the top.
Oh, there he is. There he is. They pushed
really
the car
has.
down here.
Yeah, and by the way, I just texted Bo Barfield. Any penalty from number 71 for not heeding the flag? Negative.
Oh!
Race director.
Oh, excellent. Right. Well, the celebration can start. The celebration can start for Rebel Rock Racing, Frank DePue and Robert Littell. No penalty from the race director. Thank you, Bob Barfield, for coming back to Jeremy Shaw there in the Hayden Global broadcast centre so quickly. Robert takes off the gloves and helmet. There's a bit of a chat going on between him and his teammate there. So as it stands right now, with post-race tech of course still to come, as it stands right now, Rebel Rock Racing have won another race, Jeremy Shaw.
Yeah, that's astonishing, absolutely astonishing. They'd be able to stretch out the fuel that far. I mean, I don't know whether they had a reserve fuel tank in there. I'm kidding, because they're not allowed. But it was a remarkable effort. I mean, there's Robert Liddell using all of his experience to bring that car home in those sort of circumstances. And you know, he knew right from the beginning when he got in the car, I'm sure, that if there was any hope of getting to the end, he would have been on full fuel save right from the very start of his stint. So clearly that's what the team had in mind, and he pulled it off absolutely perfectly. Remarkable effort by that whole Rebel Rock Racing team, but particularly by, we're not going to call him Leadfoot Liddell anymore, are we?
Softfoot.
Lightfoot Liddell.
Yeah, Robbie Softfoot. Yeah, absolutely. Just a note on that. Again, this is coming from IMSA. Thank you, Nate Sabins. An advisory flag, the mechanical black flag situation, advisory flag, so no issue then confirmed from IMSA. So just to add a little bit of meat to the bones, congratulations as well to Roadshagger Racing. What a brilliant run for those guys, and Tactics and Smarts both from both of our winners, also putting them into the win situation for our pilot moment of the race, and they'll be getting a set of racing tyres from Michelin.